What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm back in another video. This time we're going to look at the best duos in NBA history from every era and rank them from worst to best. And like in all my videos, I want to make it very clear, when looking at these duos, they are all-time great players and all-time great duos. And really, there is no worst duo on this list, but when you put the best players of all time against each other, at the end of the day, there is a best and there is a worst. And for this video, for each duo, I'm going to look at them as individuals, as well as how much they accomplished in their era, and rank them accordingly. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So first up at number 6 with the 1970s, and the duo of Kareem and Oscar Robertson. And this duo spent 4 years together, they made 2 finals, and won 1 championship. And Kareem during this time was 22, 26 years old, and a 4-time All-Star. Oscar was a little bit older, out of his prime, but he still made 2 All-Star games. And combine these two players in the playoffs, averaged 44.5 points per game, 21.4 boards, 12.5 assists, they won 1 championship, and 4 MVPs, that includes regular season, as well as finals. And together, they had a record of 248 wins and 80 losses. And this specific duo only spent 4 years together, which is on the low side compared to the other great duos. And what holds him back from being higher is that Oscar Robertson, like I said, was not in his absolute prime. Kareem, although he was young, I think, had his best years in this 4-year stretch. And as a duo, they're the best in the 1970s, but on my list, they come in at 6th place. Now next up at number 5, we have the 2010s, and the duo of Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. And this duo as individuals are two of the most talented players of all time. And in Golden State, they played 3 years together, they won 2 championships back to back, and they made the finals every single year. And during this time together, they only lost 12 total playoff games. In 2017, they only lost 1 game to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And when these two guys were healthy for Golden State, it was a guaranteed championship every single year. And I think what makes them so great is that during this time, they're both in their prime, being 28 to 30 years old. And during these 3 years, Steph Curry and KD combined made 1,317 threes, the most in the NBA during that time period, and the most out of any duo on this list. And if you look at their playoff stats combined, they put up 57 points per game, 13.2 boards, 10.4 assists, they're 2-time champions, and 2-time finals MVPs. And like I said before, this duo individually is one of the most talented players of all time, but what holds them back is their longevity, as KD and Steph really only had 2.5 good playoff runs, as in 2019 KD got injured, and Steph Curry had to carry them after he went out. So the only downside for this duo is their longevity, not being up to par with the other great duos. But besides that, this duo is the best of the 2010s, and the 5th best duo when ranking them by eras. Now looking at number 4, we have the 1960s, and the duo of Bill Russell and John Havlicek. And this duo right here spent 7 years together, they won 6 championships, including 4 straight, and they made the finals every single year. And Havlicek during this 7-year stretch came in as a rookie and left as a 28-year-old. Russell during this time was 28 to 34 years old, a 7-time All-Star, and the most accomplished player in the NBA. And combined, this duo was a part of the great dynasty Boston Celtics. And if you look at their playoff stats, they averaged 37.1 points per game, 31.7 boards, the most on this list, 9.7 assists, they won 6 championships, and during their 7-year run, in Game 7s, they were a perfect 5-0, the best record out of any duo on this list. So looking at raw accolades, this duo is out there the best of all time, and you could argue the most accomplished duo in NBA history. What holds them back, in my opinion, is individual basketball talent. As Bill Russell in his time, he locked down defender, but on the offensive end, he wasn't as skilled as other players on this list. John Havlicek, much like Russell, was a great all-around player, specifically on the defensive end, but when looking at him compared to the other great legends, he's one of the lesser great players on this list. That's not a knock on him, it's just the fact there's so many great players on this duo list. So taking all that into account, that's why I rank Russell and Havlicek at the number 4 spot. Now getting to the halfway point of our list, we have the duo of Magic and Kareem from the 1980s. And this duo played the entire decade together, playing 10 seasons, winning 5 championships, and making 8 finals. And together, they made an astounding 19 All-Star games. And their Lakers teams during this time won 60 games 5 different times, and they never won less than 54 games. And in 87-88, they won back-to-back championships. And one interesting fact about this duo, when it comes to the finals MVP, Magic Johnson is the youngest ever, and Kareem is the oldest ever. And that's the great dynamic of this duo. Magic came to the Lakers in 1980 as a rookie, and Kareem was in his prime, but when they ended, Magic was in his prime, and Kareem was an old veteran. So this duo right here has great longevity, but when it comes to playoff stats, they average 40.4 points a game, 15.2 boards, 15.2 assists, they won 5 championships, 8 MVPs, and had 561 wins during the 1980s. Now, why I didn't put them higher on my list is, like I said before, Kareem at the end of this run, he was much older, and Magic in the beginning was much younger. So it's kind of a weird dynamic for these players, and I think their absolute peak as a duo was from 84 to 86, when both guys were still high-caliber all-star players. And if you want to make the case for them being higher, I could definitely see that, but for my list, I rank them at the number 3 spot. Now looking at number 2, we have the duo of Shaq and Kobe from the 2000s. And this duo spent 8 years together, they won 3 championships all in a row, and Kobe was a 6-time All-Star, Shaq was a 7-time All-Star, and their Lakers teams dominated the early 2000s. And what I would look for in this duo is not the accomplishments, it's how great they were as individuals. During this time in the playoffs, they averaged 50.3 points per game, 18.2 boards, 7.4 assists, they won 3 championships, 4 MVPs, and won 435 games. And I think the duo of Shaq and Kobe is the greatest Laker duo of all time. Maybe not in longevity, but at their absolute peak, I believe these two guys are the best Lakers duo of all time. And I would say their absolute peak was in 01 to 03, when Kobe and Shaq were both superstars. And when you had both these guys healthy, you were not losing a championship. Look to the 01 playoffs, they only lost 1 game that entire playoff run, and both these players dominated the Western Conference as well as the East. And when you have a dominant force like Shaq, combined with Kobe, the second best shooting guard of all time, it's very, very hard to rank this duo any lower than 3, and I put them at the number 2 spot. Now at the number 1 spot from the 1990s, I'm pretty sure you could have guessed it, we have Jordan and Pippen. And this duo played 9 years together, they won 6 championships, including 2 three-peats. Jordan during this time was a 9-time All-Star, Pippen a 6-time All-Star, and they dominated the 1990s. And if you look at this duo's second three-peat, that's why I personally believe they were the most dominant. Through 96, they won 72 games, 97, 69, 98, 62. In all those years, they won the championship in epic fashion. And out of their 6 championship runs 5 times, they won 60 plus games during that year. And like you guys know, they never lost in the NBA Finals. Now looking at these two players stats-wise in the playoffs combined, they averaged 51.4 points a game, 14.1 boards, and 10.8 assists. They're 6-time champions, 11-time MVPs, and won 553 games. So from a dominance perspective, this duo is up there with the best of all time, and I think defensively at their peaks, they're the greatest defensive duo of all time, as Pippen could lock down 1 through 4, and Jordan could basically do the same. And when you have the greatest player, who's also the greatest scorer, combined with a great all-around player in Pippen, you automatically get one of the best duos of all time, and I rank them at the number 1 spot because of their accomplishments, their dominance, and their overall basketball talent on the offensive end as well as the defensive end. Now with that being said, that is the end of the video. That was my last duo for this list. And if you need a quick refresher, the list goes like this. You have Kareem and Oscar, Curry and KD, Bill Russell and John Havlicek, Magic and Kareem, Shaq and Kobe, and Jordan and Pippen. And as always, let me know your guys' thoughts, what you thought on my list, and who you think is the best duo of all time. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, I'll see you guys next time.